Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Minds podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen 𝐏𝐻𝐿, creator of the Profit Minds Growth System, a unique blend of profit growth, productivity acceleration, and building robust business process for scale. In every episode, I interview entrepreneurs and small business owners from around the world with a unique story to tell. You can find the show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Well, hello, everyone. Today, my guest is Justin Goodbread, a nationally recognized business strategist, best-selling author, and creator of the Deca Millionaire Framework. And today, we're going to talk about how to build the business that will provide you with the amount of money that will change your life for the rest of your life. Welcome, Justin.
Hey, Stephen. Glad to be here, man.
Hey, so the way I start all of these, right? Tell me your story. How did you get to be where you are?
Man, my story began on a dirt road in South Georgia near the coast. I was 15 years of age. I started my first business. And I learned business as a homeschool kid back whenever homeschooling didn't even exist. I mean, we're talking 30 plus years ago. I'm showing my age now. And launched a business. And before you knew it, Stephen, my brother and I, who were running this little grass cutting business, were making more take-home pay each than my mom and dad combined within about 2 years. We learned how to grow businesses. And so from that humble beginnings on a dirt road, I often say chasing alligators and running barefoot. Since then, now we have started and or sold 7 companies. And now I'm living a life where I'm able to coach business owners on how they can radically change their lives. It's been a fun journey.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So talk to us about the Deca Millionaire Framework. What does that mean?
Yeah. So let's talk about Deca Millionaire first. Deca Millionaire is somebody who has a net worth greater than $10 million. Now, why does that number matter? There's most service-based business owners. There's 33 million service-based business owners in the United States that has an employee. And most of us, there's this mean number that we're trying to achieve, which is roughly $250,000 a year in take-home pay. Let's keep it simple and say $20,000 a month. That's the mean, our average number that I research and I hear business owners making. If I can get $20,000 a month, man, I'm in good shape. I'm living high on the hog, as we'd say down in the South, where you and I now live.
Yeah.
So the thing about that is that we don't realize how much money we live vicariously through our companies. For example, our cell phones are paid for by our companies. Our vehicles perhaps are paid for by our companies. Maybe we take a trip, do CE. Maybe it's our insurance. Maybe we pay our spouse or significant other or kids through our companies. And when you start adding all those things up, it really adds up to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Now, here's what's amazing. Most of us as business owners, we're like the ultimate control freak, right? We want to control everything because that's why we work for ourselves. Michael Gerber in his book, The E-Myth, says we work for a lunatic. It's us, right? So we work for ourselves and we don't realize how much money we make. And all of a sudden we reach an age or an event happens or maybe we just get tired. And we're like, oh my goodness, I now have to work to maintain my lifestyle. I have to work. So in order for us to achieve true freedom, freedom can be financial, could be time-bound, it could be based on status, it could be family freedom, whatever it is. In order to achieve money freedom, most of us need to have about $10 million in the bank. $10 million earning 4% interest gives us about $400,000 a year. You say, well, I won't live on 400 grand. Look, I served as a financial advisor for over 25 years, nationally recognized. I never saw anybody who retired that went down in their compensation when they retired. They actually ended up spending more. So for most of us, we need to raise our mindset to what can we drive our net worth to? Can we achieve $10 million in value? Now, whenever I heard that number, Stephen, I actually went back to Jim Rohn from years ago whenever he said, the issue is not to become a millionaire, but for who you become along the journey. So whenever we start thinking about that as a Deca Millionaire, what happens is our mind changes, our outlook changes, and our business changes. And we move from this prison that we've created where we're working 90 hours a week, we're going around crazy like a termite in a yo-yo. Now we start actually working in a business that somebody else is willing to come along and pay us money for. So the Deca Millionaire Framework is a 5-step process that changes the way we think, that is a proven system that we have literally walked hundreds, if not thousands of business owners through right now to rapidly scale their companies so that they can have time freedom, financial freedom, whatever type of freedom they desire for themselves and their family.
Yeah, and that's what we find in our coaching business as well, right? Is that they want either time freedom or financial freedom,
Right.
or hopefully both, right? One might provide the other, right?
Correct.
Um,
Absolutely.
so talk to us about the 5 steps. What are the 5 steps to this framework?
So the first step, so 5 step framework, the first step is Relentless Foundation. Notice I'm wearing my shirt, Be Relentless. I have my little Yeti cup here that says Be Relentless on my cup.
Is
Relentless.
that a theme?
It is. So what does it mean to be relentless? Relentless means is that I don't care what's in front of me. I am going to go through it. If it may be a wall, whatever it is, I'm going to go over it, around it, through it, or under it. You know, I'm getting through whatever it is. Now, most of us as business owners, we have that tenacious attitude, right? But in order for us to be relentless, we have to have a foundation to which we can ground ourselves in. The corporate world would say vision, mission, and values. I hate those words because it's like a soapbox for me. Like most corporate people don't know what it means. But for us as business owners, why do we go into business? Whose life can we rock if we're across the table from them, if we're doing our service for them? I've got a painter coming out to this cabin. It's one of our Airbnbs, and they're going to be painting this tomorrow. And this painter is phenomenal. They're like 𝐏𝐫𝐶𝐽. It's amazing what they do with a paintbrush because they realize they're not just painting the house, they're changing somebody's vacation future by the way the house will look. That's what their foundation, their values are rest in. So for us, the very first step is, what was it like? Why did we go into business? Who are we? Why do we get up in the morning? Can we impact the lives of those we have the honor and privilege to serve? So we always start with Relentless Foundation. Then we go into Relentless Examination. Stephen, I love pancakes. I love pancakes. I like homemade maple syrup with not out of the box pancake, but pancakes that they fluff up so big. I mean, your tongue's going to beat your brains out. But you know what I've noticed about a pancake is there's 2 sides. Whenever we as business owners start doing an examination of our life, we only focus many times on our business. Now, there's 286 points in a business that we can examine to determine if it's viable, if it's investable, is it growing like it should be. There's 287 points. You yourself probably have some of those to your coaching business. But then there's also the personal side. So when we take it back, we say, how even is this pancake? Is it slanted to one side where we're only focusing on business, or do we really have alignment around, where our faith is, where our family is, where our friends are, things of that nature? Do we have an alignment? Once we examine things, then the rubber hits the road, right? So Relentless Execution is where we spend the vast majority of our time. With this onset right now of AI, artificial intelligence taking place, we now are in an information overload era, more so than ever. If I want to know how to build a coffee cup, I can do it. So information has become extremely cheap. Whereas a few years back, those of us who possessed the information, whether we be PhDs or years in the trenches, we were the almighties that people would come and lay at our beck and feet, and we could impart a little bit of wisdom on them. Not anymore. In Relentless Execution, it's all about how do we implement what we already know we should be doing. Most of us, we know what the next step in our company or in our lives is. So for example, I asked this question. If you were a potential client of ours, Stephen, I'd say, Stephen, if I step into your company as the CEO, what's the first thing I'm going to do? And you already know what I should do. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to ask the simple question, why aren't you doing it? And then what that exposes in is that it's not a knowledge problem, it's an implementation problem. So for us, we spend most of our time putting frameworks together that will get the business owner to get out of their own way and take the action steps and give them the assurance that this next step that they already know they should be doing anyways, they should do. So that's our third step. So we have Relentless Foundation, Relentless Examination, then Relentless Execution. Then finally, fourth of all, we get to Relentless Exit. Every one of our companies are going to be passed on or disposed of at some point in our life. We're not taking them with us. Whenever we get to the pearly gates, Peter's not going to look back and say, dude, you got a beautiful company. Come on in. He's not worried about that. So we're going to leave our company. So how do we build the exit so that whenever we decide as owners to exit, that somebody is out there with a big fat pocketbook, whether that be your kids, a competitor, an employee, a venture capital firm, whoever it is, they're sitting there, they're shucking some core, man. They're putting some stuff in your pocket. How do we build that? So that's what we call Relentless Exit. And then finally, we have Relentless Freedom. Relentless freedom comes whenever you have achieved either time-bound or money-bound positions. And there's a few things. It may be health, it may be family, it may be relationships. But for most people as business owners, we want to have our time and we want money. So whenever you reach the point to where the business is annuitized, In other words, you can provide that stream of income without any worry. Like you can go sit on the beach and not have to think about anything. If the Martians invade or if the rocks fall out of the sky and hit things, you're in good shape. Well, most of us, though, we're going to have to exit our companies. And so in order for us to achieve freedom, the fifth step, we have to walk through those four things. So that's what we write about. That's what our newest book coming about is the Deca Millionaire Way, and how to walk through those frameworks that are proven to take a business owner and radically change your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I love that the whole relentless thing. The going to the going to the foundation is the why, right? That's
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I think most of us, and a lot of these folks that say, you gotta focus on your why, and I understand that, right? It's important, but most of us intuitively get the why, right? And at least that's my experience. Maybe your experience is different.
Well, so the whole auspice of what we teach and why we coach and where our business owners want is they want to be different. They want to reach a pinnacle that less than 2% of the population ever reach. They want to become Deca millionaires. And so intuitiveness, though it does serve the masses, that's also why we have the masses. In order for us today in today's society, we have to actually identify clearly and be able to train the robots on what our values are. That's the why. Who we are when the lights are off. What keeps us up at night. So I'll give you an example. Every client out there, in fact, anybody who's listened to our podcast for any length of time, read my books, you're going to know this particular value I have. And that is turn the turtle. Like, yeah, you see a hard-shelled turtle walking in the sand, turn it. Years ago, Stephen, I was walking through the woods with my dad. I was about 15 years old, and my dad and I walked upon this box turtle, little turtle we have in the South, pretty bright thing. They're really pretty fun turtles, and they make really good pets. But we walked up on it, and it was upside down, and it was struggling, man. His feet were flailing everywhere. I mean, you could almost see it.
They don't do well upside down.
Yeah, they don't walk very good, right? So you know what my dad did, Stephen, is he reached down, he turned the turtle over. And I'm 15 years old. I'm thinking I'm going to have a moment of wisdom here, right? And so I said, Pops, that's what we call it. I said, Pops, why'd you do that? He said, because I can. I said, no. You're missing what I'm asking. Why did you do that? I'm trying to get in some deep philosophical conversation with him. And he said, son, because I can. I said, no, you're missing the point, Dad. And he said, no, son, you're missing the point. And he reached out, he put his hands on my shoulder in that moment, Stephen. He said, look, son, when you have within your power to do something that's going to help somebody, you do it. No questions asked. You don't just do it because it's who you are. That became one of my values. So take that along with our other 12 values that's coming up in one of our newest books. You take your personal values and you identify them. And whenever you identify them so clearly, what happens in today's world is now you're able to train the robots. You're now able to train the LLMs. You're able to train the bots out there to know who Steven is or who this business owner is. And what the bots are looking for is, because they're also analyzing everybody else's values, is they're simply trying to play matchmaker. Okay, so the Deca millionaires today, though it may be intuitive on our values, we can't play that intuitive game today. So what we teach our coaching clients to do is that whenever you're identifying your vision, your mission, your values, where you are, your calling, your purpose, whatever those terms are for the business owner, we want to take it out of you. We want to extract it from you, almost like you're sitting on your shrink's couch looking at the ceiling, get all that mushy stuff out and format it in such a way that today's AI system knows everything it needs to know about you to play matchmaker with your idealistic client. So in order to reach Deca millionaire status, the intuitiveness, yes, I would agree with you. Most of us know it, but now we have to go a step deeper. And those who do, they're rocking it out. They're bringing in dozens of new clients. They're changing their lives. Those who just live intuitively about it, it's going to become the 𝐏𝐻𝐸𝐷. They're going to be average. No advancement.
Okay. And similarly, I think probably for every step, right? As you pointed out, the business owner knows intuitively what it is that he or she is not doing, not executing when you get to the relentless execution step.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of, holding somebody's feet to the fire to actually get them to do the things that they know they should do.
In our coaching business, we have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into agents, V1, V2, V3 types of agents that our clients have access to. And one of the things we teach them is as we're building out their business and we bring them to the 4 quadrants of business, 4 quadrants every business has. That is, you're attracting a new client, you're converting the client to a customer, you're delivering the product that you said that they bought from you, and now you're trying to retain them or convert them into raving fans. 4 quadrants. So attract, convert, deliver, retain. In each of those phases, we as business owners know that we should be doing planning. We know we should be executing at a high level. We know we should be diet and exercising. But what we've done is we've taken it and made it almost idiot proof if you can, because I'm kind of the guy who needs this. I wanted a system that would identify the 6-week and the 90-day sprints for me personally in my company, and make sure that everybody on my team knew exactly what they had to do every single week in order for us to advance the company. And in our software systems now, every Monday I get what is due that week and who is responsible for it. On Friday, everybody in our team has a prompting where they just simply click a box and it get done, yes or no. So every Monday, every Friday, the whole team knows what needs to be done that week. Now think about the power of what I just described. Most of us as business owners, first of all, we think we intuitively know what we need to do, but until we deep dive and analyze the business across 287 different prompts, we don't know exactly what's going to move the needle in terms of value or income. But then once we do, execution is the hard part. So then having something like a little robot that twice a week reaches out and says, hey, here's what you should be doing. Are you on track? And it sends it to the coach, and the coach holds you accountable. And then we take it a step further every single day. You get a little prompt from us and it says, hey, this is what you should be doing. How are we doing today? And that sounds annoying. It sounds like the little gnat, But you know what I learned years ago? We grew up in the South, Stephen, and now you just moved to South Carolina. You're going to experience this. We have these little bugs, and they fly around your head. And the more they fly around and buzz you, the more you swat at them. It's kind of like the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Most of us as business owners, until we get super, super specific, we end up in the fray and we stay average. And that's not what our Deca Millionaire clients want to achieve. They want to reach Deca Millionaire status. In order to do that, you're going to have to do things that are so simple that no one else is going to do them.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Have a weekly team meeting. Just a weekly team meeting. Have an annual strategy meeting. Do that. Get rid of the thing that you as the business owner love, but you shouldn't be doing. Journal every day. At the end of the day, grab your cell phone on the way home or from that job site or from the office, or whatever your duties are, and identify everything that day that did not pay you at the hourly rate that you should be making. So for example, if you're making $250,000 a year take home pay, that's $125 an hour. At $125 an hour, if you're responding to emails, that's a $25 an hour job. You shouldn't be doing that. If you're putting quotes together, that's a $15 an hour job. You shouldn't be doing that. You have to operate at the level to which you desire to make. Those are little things that when we hear about, it's like, man, that makes sense. Yeah, I should be doing that. But we don't, because it seems so simple that the vast majority of people don't do it.
And how do you go from, to say, well, I don't have anybody else to do my emails?
Well, I view that, first of all, as an excuse. So I hear people say it all the time. And so business owners are the world's worst at making the excuses, because we're unique and no one else has a business like us, which we say hogwash in the South. We're all the same. Okay. There's only 3 types of businesses, only 3 segments of businesses. Just to make this super simple. You have macro, middle market, and micro. Simple enough. You have retail, manufacturing, or service. Those are the 3 types of businesses, and those are 3 levels of the business. All within those are pretty much the same old thing. We're not dealing with Baskin Robbins and the multiple flavors of ice cream. We got chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. That is the reality of business owners. Now, whenever I hear that as a business owner, I don't agree with that, because I'm special. Don't you realize how much I had to put in my education or into my product or into my service so that we can do what we need to do? But the reality is, from the outside looking in, whenever I'm looking at a business, it's pretty vanilla. So first of all is get rid of the excuses. Second of all is have a plan. Whenever we go back to that foundational level, I use the word vision loosely, or passion or calling. There was something way back when, when you bought your business or whenever you took it over or when you launched your business, there was something way back when that you said, man, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if I only worked 1 day a week and I could make $500,000 a year? Wouldn't it be nice if I could build the golden goose to where I had people that worked for me and they were excited about it? Wouldn't it be nice if I could only work with a handful of customers? Wouldn't it be, and whatever the list goes on and on. Whenever we take a step back and we realize that we were crazy enough to launch into the business world, to pursue that dream, but somewhere along the way, we started listening to academia, we started listening to the little evil spirit in our mind, we started listening to Aunt Sally, and all of a sudden that vision became cloudy. And now we begin to excuse-itis because we're the world's worst at just, as the old saying goes, water takes the path of least resistance. That sand is going to fill in those cracks. Whenever you take a step back, you get somebody like me who's relentless, you get a coach who's been there, done that, it's like, hey, that's hogwash, man. How bad do you want it? Stephen, I'll give you this example, and because I've been there, friends. Whenever I wanted them, I was 36 years of age, but we had made millions, lost millions, and I had this goal to have a $10 million net worth before the age of 40. So we're talking 4 years. Now, we are poor. P-O-O-O, like lots of O's between the P and the R. We are poor, okay? And my wife and I sold our little house. We had a couple $100,000 of equity. And we sold it. I said, Emily, we got to do something different, else I'm not going to achieve my dreams. My dream was to have a $10 million net worth. And I told Zig Ziglar at 19 years of age in a small conference, I'm going to achieve that. Here I am at 36 years of age. I must have lied to myself. I must have lied to Zig. Maybe it's not for me. And I can remember that conversation, Stephen, and it came back to what do I want? How bad do I want it? So whenever I came up to my senses and I said, okay, I'm willing to pay whatever it takes and do whatever it takes to achieve that legally, of course, but do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, how would I do it? You know what I did? I found somebody who had been there, done that. Found somebody who had already had the battle scars, somebody who had a proven framework, somebody that I could listen to, that I respected. I met this cat, my coach. He's now with Jesus. But at that time, I said, hey, man, I want to achieve this. He said, Goodbread, how bad do you want it? I said, dude, I want it so bad. He said, can you smell it? I put it never like it was yesterday, Stephen. I said, can you smell it? I said, man, I can smell it. He said, can you taste it? I said, taste it. He said, good. You're going to pay me $10,000 a month. And I went, I do what? What? I said, didn't you realize that was P with a bunch of O's and the R, poor? He said, how bad do you want it? We sold a little house, took a couple $100,000, put it in the business. I moved my wife and family into a double-wide trailer. On Christmas Day, I'm in the floor of the Red with a Red Ryder BB gun shooting mice running across the trailer because I had this dream. 4 years later, we're Deca Millionaires. Within 90 days after I made that commitment to burn the ships and pursue my dreams because I wanted it, I quit making excuses. My coach said, how bad do you want to figure it out? I have found 5 people, and here was my sales pitch, Stephen. I went to these 5 business owners who wanted the same thing. He wanted something. And I said, guys, I don't know what I'm fixing to do. And I promised to pay this guy 10 grand. I ain't got it, man. I tell you what, will you pay me $2,000? And after I learn from him, I'll come back and tell you everything that he told me, and we'll work together. Within 90 days, 5 people said, yes, I'll pay you 2 grand. I'm playing with the house's money at this point. How bad do you want it? See, most of us have excuses. We say we want the payoff, whatever the payoff is. We say we want the 6-pack abs, whatever that is. But man, we really like that pizza. We like that ice cream. We don't want it bad enough. Until you reach the point in your life that those dreams, that vision, that calling, those values have become so personal and so real to you that it keeps you up at night and you have nothing but to become the person who's worthy of those things, you're going to stay average and mundane. That's what I say to those individuals.
So that's fascinating. So the execution comes from just, the little steps, the things that you got to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And yeah, don't do $10 an hour tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Yeah. How about the exit? How do you, because that's step 4, right?
Yeah, the exit is a lot of fun. I love the exit. I'm currently an instructor at the Exit Planning Institute. I currently in the Exit Planning Hall of Fame, the youngest person ever inducted globally into the Exit Planning Hall of Fame. To me, the exit is a lot of fun. The thing about an exit is that it's never too long to start, never too early to start. Most of us as business owners, myself included, when I first started thinking about this, we start thinking about an exit like the day before. The reality is right this very second, even if you're 30 years old or 20 years old, and you just started your business, right now, you've got to figure out an exit. The way I explain it to our clients is this. Whenever we send our soldiers into battle, typically there's an exit plan. Typically there's a rendezvous point where our soldiers are going to meet at that they say, if this happens, go to exit Bravo or Alpha or Delta or go to these different exit strategies. The reason why that becomes so vital for us in business is because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what our crazy politicians are going to do. We don't know what the economy is going to do. We don't know what our health is going to do. So in my own world, my coach was always teaching me, and now I have the privilege of coaching hundreds of people. I'm teaching them that, hey, look, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You have to constantly decentralize yourself from the business. So the way I describe it, which I think is a really good play on words for us on an audio type format, is this. Whenever I was growing up, Stephen, we had these things called merry-go-rounds. I like to call them the spinning wheel of death, okay? You would hold on to this thing, and if you had bubble on the other side, it would throw you off. And you'd hit the ground, your mom would look at you and say, you lost your ever-loving mind. But as long as you were in the middle of that merry-go-round, it was okay, it was safe. But then as you got to the edge of it, man, your grip began to get weak and you began holding on for dear life. Most of us as business owners, we're at the center of the merry-go-round. We can see our business, it's chaotic, but we can sit there. An exit literally feels like a merry-go-round. It feels like in order for you to leave your company, you're going to get on the fringe of that merry-go-round and you're going to be holding on with just that pinky. And that pinky is getting tired and you don't want to let go. So what we teach our customers and our clients to do is that at a minimum of 5 years beforehand, before they desire to, at a minimum, you start decentralizing yourself early. You start removing yourself from the epicenter of the business. Now, there's 8 areas of the business. There's 256 metrics. We don't have time today to go through all the how you do that. But you actually begin moving yourself off the merry-go-round. And the goal is, Stephen, is to sit with your mom on the merry-go-round, on the park bench, looking at all the kids on the merry-go-round who are hanging on for dear life. Your goal is, as a business owner, to get out of the business and let the business operate without you completely before you ever put it on the market. And if you do, like I mentioned earlier, that person or that company or that employee or that family member, they're going to be out there and the bank's going to be willing to lend them money and you're putting bank in your pocket and now you've changed your life for the rest of your life.
Wow. Yeah, that's yeah. And then the last was Relentless Freedom. Talk about that.
So many times I see in today's society, especially with the young ones, and I say young ones because of my age now. I've been a business owner for 33 years, Stephen. I see so many young ones today that I have freedom. I have freedom because I have rental properties. I have freedom because I have this business that provides me income, and I've got a second in command that can run everything. And then you start kicking through the shadows of the what ifs that could happen. All of a sudden, you see their face drop on the what ifs that can happen. Whenever you reach true freedom, freedom comes by time, and that's typically what we achieve first, where we can take 6 months off, or we can go into the office 1 day a year, or we can maybe not even check in. That often is achieved first in an entrepreneur journey. Financial freedom comes from either an income stream that's more than what you need or ever desire, or it comes from selling the business. But the freedom part is not the transaction. The freedom part is what happens after that. Years ago, I remember hearing Oprah Winfrey make this statement. And she said it, she was reading an interview by a famous reporter. And she said, the hardest thing I ever had to learn how to do was introduce myself as not a talk show host. I'm Oprah Winfrey. Let me tell you who I am. It's kind of like I'm Justin Goodbread. Yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I'm a keynote speaker. Yes, I'm an award-winning author. Yes, I have all these things. But you know what? I'm a country boy. I'm a hunter. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a jazz pianist. I do these crazy things like garden, man. I love sitting on the beach with a margarita. That's who Justin is, right? I'm so much more than a business owner. Relentless freedom ultimately comes when your identity becomes holistic versus singularity in nature. And most of us, if I were to ask the average business owner, so what do you do for a living? They're going to say, well, I'm the CEO of family business company. They don't say, well, what day of the week you want to know about? Today, I'm at a cabin looking across the Tennessee River, and I was just down there skipping rocks on the river with my 14-year-old. That's what Justin is today. Tomorrow, my son's going to be out here, and we're going to be putting some woodwork up. Tomorrow, I'm a woodworker. Sunday, I'm going to be at church playing the keys. I'm a pianist on Sunday. That's whenever true freedom comes, whenever we realize that we're not the business. We're not the business owner. We're much more than that. And we're able to do whatever it is God's designed us to do, whether that be to impact your community, your charities, your family, your friends, the community at large. My coaching business today is not because I don't have it because I have to. I have it because I have 30 years of business experience. And there's a handful of people, a small elite group of ninja warriors out there who want to grow their business and achieve freedom. And I'm having the time of my life being a coach 2 or 3 days a month. It's a lot of fun. So whenever you achieve freedom is whenever you've disconnected yourself from the identity of a business owner.
Wow. That's great. So thanks for sharing all of that. I understand you have a free gift to offer the listeners.
Yeah, so in the show notes below, we'll put the Deca Millionaire Blueprint. It's just a simple framework that talks through these 5 steps and a couple of questions you might ask yourself to say, hey, am I on the way to achieving Deca Millionaire status? Now, if you're like me, whenever I hear somebody talk like this, I'm like, I'm not even on the way. I'm not even on the track right now. So for those of you who are not on the track, I'd say that if you want to learn a little bit more how to do this, check out our YouTube channel. We have over 1,000 videos. Our podcast is number 34 right now in the entrepreneur space on Apple. We have over 1,000 episodes. We literally teach you how to do what I'm talking about doing every single week. So if you say, man, I'm not on the track, I don't need a free download, I just want to learn more, check out those 2 areas. If you want to learn more about how our coaching business works, go to justingoodbread.com. It's pretty simple.
So is that the best way to reach out? Is the Justin?
Yeah. Just like most successful people, we have gatekeepers. They don't let me talk to people. So you got to go through justingoodbread.com to get through the various gatekeepers to protect that help us serve the people with maximum impact.
Great. And that concludes our show. Thanks so much to my guest, Justin Goodbread, the creator of the Deca Millionaire Framework. I hope you learned something about how to create a business that will change your life. I know I did. Thanks for watching. You've been listening to the Profit Minds podcast. This is your host, Dr. Stephen 𝐏𝐿𝐻. Please visit www.profitminds.net for other episodes or to contact me. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others. Thanks for listening. Have a grateful day.